You ever have one of those days, a totally normal day, nothing crazy happens, but by the end of it, you feel completely wired, but also exhausted? Meanwhile, you see other people who seem to handle insane pressure and just stay calm. What's their secret? Well, I'll tell you what it's not. It's not about having more willpower. It's about a cycle your body keeps starting, but never actually finishes. And today, we're going to dive into the science of how to fix that, not by trying harder, but by designing smarter.
So, here's what we've got lined up. First, we're going to uncover the real reason you're feeling so stressed out, what I like to call your body's unfinished business. Then we'll get into why it's a design flaw, not a personal flaw. That's a big one. After that, we'll break down the Tiny Habits formula and show you exactly how to use it to complete that pesky stress cycle. We'll even reveal the secret ingredient that actually makes new habits stick. And to wrap it all up, we're going to design your very first tiny habit, right here, together.
Okay, first up, let's get right to the heart of that whole wired but exhausted thing. It really all boils down to your body's unfinished business. So, let me just ask you this, and be honest. Does this sound familiar? You've had a totally normal day, right? Just emails, maybe a few meetings, errands, nothing earth-shattering. But when evening rolls around, your mind is just racing, going a mile a minute, while your body feels like it's been run over by a truck. If that's you, I want you to know you are not alone, and there is a very real biological reason this is happening. The absolute core of this problem is something called the incomplete stress cycle. And I love this analogy for it. Think of your stress response like a washing machine. It's designed to run a full cycle, right? From wash to rinse to spin. But here's the problem with modern life. Every time you get a frustrating email or deal with a tense phone call or sit in traffic, you're starting a new load of laundry. But you never ever let the first one finish. So by the end of the day, you've started maybe a dozen loads of stress, but you've completed exactly zero. And this completely reframes our goal in a really, really important way. See, we've all been told that cortisol is the big bad enemy, but it's not. It's actually our body's get-up-and-go energy system. The goal isn't to have low cortisol. The goal is to have a complete cycle. So look at this. A healthy cycle gives you this awesome surge of energy in the morning to get you going, and then it naturally drops off at night so you can rest. But the stuck cycle, that's what most of us are living with. You feel groggy in the morning, then you get these little unresolved stress spikes all day long, leaving you totally wired right when you're trying to wind down for bed.
So, if you've been trying to fix this and keep failing, it's really easy to start thinking, what's wrong with me? But what if the problem isn't you at all? What if it's just your approach?
Okay, this right here, this quote from Stanford behavior scientist BJ Fogg is, and I mean this, a total game changer. I really want you to let this sink in. It's a design flaw, not a personal flaw. Read that again. If your attempts to change your habits have failed, it is not because you are flawed. It's because your method was flawed. It's a design problem. And once you realize that, it completely frees you from all that blame and guilt, and it opens the door to a way that actually works. So, what is this new method? Well, let's get right into the core framework for making change feel, well, easy, not hard. This is the science behind tiny habits.
So BJ Fogg's research boils it down to this really simple formula, B equals MAP. A behavior only happens when three things come together at the exact same moment: motivation, ability, and a prompt. Now here's the crucial part, the mistake we all make. We try to solve our problems by cranking up our motivation. But just look, motivation is the most fickle, unreliable part of the whole equation. The real secret, the thing that actually works, is to focus on ability, making the behavior ridiculously easy, and on the prompt, making the trigger super obvious.
And here's how you put that into practice. It's as simple as ABC. A is for anchor. That's an existing routine you already do, which acts as your prompt. B is for the new behavior. And the key here is to make it so tiny it feels almost silly, like impossible not to do. And C, and this might just be the most important part, is celebration. That's an immediate positive emotion that you create for yourself. It's basically a simple little recipe you can write out. It goes like this. After I, and you put an existing routine here. I will, and you put your tiny new behavior here. It's that simple. For example, after I pour my morning coffee, I will do 1 push-up. Just 1. Or, after I brush my teeth, I will floss 1 tooth. See how easy that is? That's the whole point.
Okay, so let's tie this all together. How do we take this powerful tiny habits formula and apply it back to our original problem, that darn incomplete stress cycle? How can we use this to finally finish all those loads of stress laundry we've got piling up?
All right, here are 7 science-backed habits that are perfect for this. They're broken down by time of day to help you build a solid rhythm. Now, we're not going to go through every single one, but I want to zoom in on a couple of really powerful examples, one you can do midday and one for the evening, just so you can see exactly how this works in real life. So, for a midday reset, this one is amazing. It's called the 90-second reset. Get this. The research shows that the actual chemical rush of a stress response only lasts for about 90 seconds in your body. This little technique, called cyclic sighing, basically hits the reset button. All you do is take 2 quick inhales through your nose, then 1 long, slow exhale through your mouth. Do that just 2 or 3 times between meetings or after a tough phone call. It's a super tiny behavior that literally discharges stress in real time. And then, for the evening, I want you to think like a zebra. Seriously, after a zebra gets chased by a lion, what does it do? It doesn't go do some yoga. No, it literally stands there and shakes its entire body to physically get rid of all those stress chemicals. Well, your body has been running from metaphorical lions all day long. Your boss, the traffic, that pile of bills. So you need a stress dump. This could be anything. A brisk walk, dancing like crazy to one song, even just standing and shaking your hands out for a couple of minutes. This is your chance to be a zebra and finally complete the cycle. Okay, we've arrived at what might be the single most important part of this whole process. This is the secret ingredient. The thing that actually wires these new habits into your brain so they stick for good. So let me ask you a question. What do you think really makes a new habit stick? I bet most of us would say repetition, right? Just grind it out, do it over and over again. That's what we've all been taught. But it turns out the latest science shows that's not really the whole story. The real answer is surprisingly simple. Emotions. Emotions create habits. Let me say that again. It is not the repetition of an action that makes it automatic. It's the positive emotion you hook onto that action. This is the absolute breakthrough insight from all of BJ Fogg's research. Here's the core idea, and it's so powerful. People change best by feeling good, not by feeling bad. Think about it. When you succeed at something, even a tiny little thing, and you genuinely let yourself feel good about it, your brain gets a little hit of dopamine. That positive feeling is your brain's internal signal that says, hey, that felt good, let's remember this behavior and do it again. And BJ Fogg has a great name for this feeling of success. He calls it shine. This is the C in our ABC formula, celebration. It's so important. Right after you do your tiny habit, you have to immediately celebrate. And it doesn't have to be a big deal. A little fist pump, a genuine smile at yourself in the mirror, even just saying yes or good job to yourself. That is shine, and that is what makes a habit stick. All right, we've covered the problem, we've got the formula, and now we know the secret ingredient. So let's bring it all home. Let's get you ready to take your very first step, like right now. Here's your 4-step recipe for designing your very first habit. Step 1. Clarify your aspiration. Think bigger than a specific goal. What's the feeling you're after? Something like, I want to feel less stressed. Step 2. Pick one behavior, and I mean it, make it ridiculously tiny, like take one deep breath. Step 3. Find a rock-solid anchor that already happens every day, like after I hang up a phone call. And finally, Step 4, the most important part. Practice celebrating. Even if it feels silly at first, just smile, acknowledge that you did it. And hey, if you're feeling skeptical about starting so small, just think about a story like Rob's. He had these huge dreams of success, but was totally stuck. His life didn't change with one giant leap. It started with one tiny habit, running just a few hundred meters each day. That one small, consistent action built his confidence, it created momentum, and it eventually led to this incredible transformation. You know, starting small might not feel sexy, but it is so successful, and more importantly, it's sustainable. So I want you to start thinking of your life as a design project. And you're the designer. You don't need to go out and find more willpower. You just need a better design. So my question for you is this. What is the first, tiny, easy, wonderful thing you are going to design into your life starting today?